Welcome back, Helldivers. So, the new update has been out now for a little bit, but it's not landed as well as Arrowhead would have liked with the broader audience. No, a lot of people are upset across Discord and Reddit, and even within game, and are voicing their opinions and wanting Arrowhead to understand their frustrations because it is a bit justified. There have been some very interesting changes that have gone down in the recent patch update, and it has people scratching their heads and wondering, was this done maliciously? And a lot of people are kind of starting to think so, because if you look at what has been given to us versus kind of what has been taken away or added onto the enemies, it makes you have to wonder, well, what the hell was Arrowhead thinking? But I wanted to make sure that I gave it a fair shake, that I gave it a full day to play out the content, get through all the changes myself, and truly experience what the new update has to offer before I shared my opinion on it. But I have some thoughts, so let's dive in. So friends, let's tackle the first thing that is causing a lot of pain and issues for everyone, and that is going to be in regards to the change to the durable damage done by enemies to all of our armor as Helldivers. So our exosuits, our tanks, our FRVs, even the Gator and the Sentries now will take more durable damage from the enemies. Basically, Arrowhead sat there and said, I don't think that our enemies are performing, especially on the Terminids, well enough against the Helldiver armor, so essentially buff everything. Which is a very weird thing to do, and a lot of people are starting to think that it's a bit malicious because they heard us and decided to buff the health pool of all of the exosuits, but then at the same time, the enemy is going to be doing way more durable damage, so it kind of balances things out, is what people are saying. But is that actual, or, is it just something in the minds of everyone? Because, you have to get down to the battlefield and actually test things. But before I get into that, friends, I wanted to also mention the other elephant in the room, and that is by buffing things of the durable damage, not only from the chaff units to up to even the Hive Lord, it's going to make a big issue for missions that require certain armor, like the Gator missions. Now when you're on the Terminid worlds and you're trying to extract that fluid, and you're using the slow-moving vehicle, all the enemies are going to be doing way more damage, and when that Hive Lord pops out of the ground, he might even be one-shotting the Gator again like he did on release, and that could be a big problem once more, making a lot more issues than were originally even thought out or intended. So people were thinking, did Arrowhead really think this update through for the durable damage, or is it something just they wanted to kind of do out of spite to us? Well, I'm kind of mixed on that. But if that wasn't enough for you, Arrowhead decided to also add on 50% more effectiveness of acid against our armor. So things like the Bile Titan or the Nursing Spewer or anything in between that uses acid is going to be 50% more effective, so killing our vehicles even faster. So as you can see from the clip over here, and obviously this is highly not advised to ever melee one of the Nursing Spewers, but if you go and you hit this thing, it will explode on you and destroy your armor pretty quickly. But also, friends, I've heard if you are even trying to get in front of the Bile Titan at all, you will not survive from the Bastion to anything. It's going to kind of rip through your armor super fast. So that is a bit annoying, and I'm not really sure why they decided to increase the effectiveness even more, because it was already pretty powerful. So another head scratcher. Then everyone, another change that has a lot of people pretty much torn on is going to be the one to the Hive Guard. This thing has been granted heavy armor to its head as well as its front legs, while taking away armor from other areas, making it so that you have to be really much focusing your fire on those weak spots to be effective. And players are saying, well, that's devaluing our gameplay a bit because medium pen is less effective, and of course light pen even more so. And you have to really focus fire on the weak areas and get around it more. But that's harder to do when there's about 1 million men trying to go there and rip your face off. So players are now saying that it's making them more locked into explosive meta than ever before, making them feel like they have to bring these guns or heavy pen guns only to fight the new Terminids so that they can be more effective on the battlefield. But not only that, they're also saying it's devaluing sentries, because the machine gun sentry or the Gatling sentry now will focus fire on the Hive Guards and waste all their bullets. And then, of course, now with the changes to the durable damage, the sentries are getting destroyed too fast. So what's the point of even bringing sentries anymore? But then not only that, everyone, if you look at the Patriot exosuit, it has a machine gun on it that also bounces off the front plate of the Hive Guard. And you should be thinking to yourselves, well, I have a very powerful mech. I should be able to kind of mow down and tear through any of the chaff or even like the medium range enemies pretty easily and not have to really worry too much about them. But now, hey, I'm going to be wasting all of my ammo just trying to get rid of a couple of these hive guards. That is definitely an interesting change. But not all changes are as bad, and the player base are happy with some of them, and that is going to be one for the Warstrider. If you take a look at its weak spot now, it's been lowered from heavy to medium pen, so if you're focusing fire on its hip joint, you can kill this thing pretty quickly. And you can see from the clip that just a couple shots from the autocannon get the job done. But then also for the shield devastators, you can now destroy those shields, so making them way more susceptible to you taking them out faster. So less being a bullet sponge and blocking all of your shots, more of them getting taken out fast. But then another thing that I wanted to cover that's annoying players is going to be the speed increase of the Gloom Strain. That's right, these speedy little bastards will get around you so quick and rip your head off before you even know it, unless you're using things like stamina boosting or the new armor. So a lot of people are saying, well, yet again, you're making it so that we have to buy the new armor to be able to have that speed buff so that we can get away from the enemies. So you're making it so that we have to buy your solution to a problem that you're causing. And I can understand that argument for sure, but you know, if you get down there and you are adapting to the gameplay even without the new armor I've been testing out, yeah, it's still playable, it's still doable, but my god, is it going to be challenging, especially when there's about a billion different bugs around you. So I'm kind of mixed on this one. I've been liking it and been looking at it from like the point of like, hey, it's a bit of a difficulty increase, but again, for all the other players that have, those very valid points, I understand your frustration. So then before I get into my breakdown and my thoughts on the Warbond itself and the actual gameplay within this update, I wanted to talk about some of the performance issues that I was experiencing that was pretty frustrating, as well as a few weird glitches. So starting off with the glitches, if you've been using the Flame Sentry or even the Lumberer's new flamethrower, if you are too close to the enemy with it, you're not going to actually be doing damage. Now, I've tested this myself, I've seen other people see it as well. If they are too close within proximity within the straight beam of your fire, it does not do damage. It'll start to do damage when they're in the blooming effect of the fire, but again, it doesn't seem, at least from my testing and testing of other people as well, that they're taking damage when they're too close to you. So that's definitely frustrating. Then another weird thing is that with all the different changes going out there and the more durability damage of, let's say, everything, the Shriekers themselves are doing very weird things to the mechs. So you can see over here in my own clip, I kill some Shriekers, they land on top of me, then out of nowhere the body just kind of rips my mech up into the sky and then my mech is no more. But I've also seen people show off clips saying that, hey, the Shriekers are going on top of their mechs and they're also pulling them away, and that is a very strange, thing that's happening. So if you're experiencing that, let me know as well, but it could just be a one-off, but hey, it could be a glitch, I don't know. Alright, then on to the performance issues, because my god, there have been a lot of them, especially in regards to the frame rate dropping. Now, friends, normally I don't have a big issue when I'm playing on PlayStation 5, but myself and other players across other consoles and PC have all said the same thing, that the frame rate has been such an issue, where it's lagging, it's speeding up, it's stopping, and I'm seeing the most stuttering and pausing happening when there's a lot of flame on the screen or a lot of explosions on the screen. And I've really never had this before. It was so much and so jarring that I was getting a little bit motion sick at some points, and I had to put down the game for a bit and come back to it. And that's kind of bad, and I'm making it so that a lot of players are not wanting to experience this, and they're saying, hey, I'm going to put this down for now, and hopefully you guys can fix this issue, because right now, for me at least, it's being a little bit unplayable is what they're saying. I myself, I'm working through it a bit, and I'm not always having that issue, but again, when it does happen, it's pretty jarring. But not only that, I know that there's been a lot of more of the disconnectivity issues across Steam Deck and other issues on PC, so again, players are reporting in that they cannot play their game as they want. So, Arrowhead, please get this sorted out pretty fast, because I want to have a better gaming experience. Alright, enough about issues, enough about complaining. I want to get on to some of the things that I like, and honestly, I have been liking this Warbond, I have to say that. The new mechs feel great. So I'm going to start off with my favorite, and that is actually going to be the Breakthrough Exosuit. So this one is for our more aggressive players like myself. And even with the changes to the durable damage, this thing absolutely slaps and devastates on the battlefield. So I could just get into a horde of men and just keep shield bashing them, taking out anything from chargers to impalers to even those new titans. Just keep smacking away, they're going to go down. But then you also have the flat gun that punches through all types of armor. You shoot through the hides of the chargers, you blow off the heads of the titans, and things are falling down around you. So you could really find yourself in the thick of it and not have to worry too much as long as you're making sure that you're not being overwhelmed. I have so much fun with this thing. And then you could also be that tank for your friends and make sure that you are locking down an area and pulling aggro away from them so they could escape, or you could hold down a location so that they could do the objective. And it's just so much fun to use. So, hey, shout out to Arrowhead because this one was definitely well executed. So then on to our other mech, which is going to be our mid-range and our long-range unit. This guy devastates. So he hits very hard with the flame, he hits very hard with the cannon. You can see I'm burning everything up here as long as they're not too close to me. And then I'm taking out all the heavies with the cannon, and I wish I had more ammo in that cannon, but hey, 20 shots does definitely do the job. I just, wish I had more. But it's highly effective. As long as you're not getting zerged and you're making sure that you're constantly moving and backing up, you can use this thing very tactically and keep your mech alive for a long time while still doing great effectiveness on the battlefield. So again, hey, Arrowhead, shout out to you for this one as well. Then as for the Gallant and the expendable MGX, both these guns I'm definitely having fun with. The MGX, it's light pen, but it fires like a million bullets so you can get a horde down very quickly. And then for the Gallant, this thing is an SMG and it goes through its bullets fast, but when you fix its recoil, this thing slaps really hard and will definitely keep you alive, and it's become one of my more favorite weapons. Okay, so I want to shift the conversation now away from the Warbond because I've shown you some of the things that I like about it. You guys can have your own opinions on it and talk more about the difficulty changes to the game, because with all the changes to the enemies in the patch update, it's seemingly now way more difficult to fight the bugs, and a lot of people are saying that, hey, a lot of these operations are now a little bit impossible. So I wanted to share my own personal take and experience on this. So in regards to the difficulty, yes, it is a lot harder and more challenging because these guys, they hit harder, they're a lot faster, but if you have, good team comp, you could definitely get these operations done, and good comms. So I was working with two different types of teams last night where we had really good comp and really good teams, and making sure that, hey, we are doing our role, we're getting the job done, and we're able to finish the objectives and clear the mission. And then I had times where, we're more spread out, things are just kind of getting away from us, and we're not really playing our roles the way that we should, and that's when we were failing missions. And I can understand the frustration that you'd say to me, Ox, well, hey, maybe I don't always have the perfect team to play with, and it's a lot more different of a gameplay style than I'm used to because of all the different changes. I used to be maybe able to clear things solo or in a duo just fine, and it's becoming, way more difficult to do that. So I can understand the frustrations there. I'm just saying from my own personal experience, if you adapt and you get, the right team, it's more than doable to clear out these difficulties, and I really was enjoying the challenge. I was enjoying, more men constantly zerging at me. I was enjoying trying to figure out how is the best way to use the mechs and the best way to use the new weapons to my benefit. And we were having a great time, and we were able to extract, most of the time successfully. So, my own take on it is that I have enjoyed those types of changes a bit more. So then, taking in everything that we covered in this video and circling back to the beginning question of, was this a malicious balancing update? I kind of come to the conclusion that I'm a bit mixed to thinking that it might have been a little bit, because they're listening to players in one regard and giving us more armor and buffing us, but then in other regards, they're making so that the enemies are kind of negating those buffs. So if you're not having, really strong gameplay or really good teamwork, you're going to have a way harder time, but then also they're kind of selling you solutions once more. So like the enemies, they're faster, but then again, if you have the new armor, you're going to be able to keep up with their speed or outpace them. So it's just not good optics all around for Arrowhead in regards to this. And I do say at the end of the day, my own personal feelings aside from it, it probably would benefit the community a lot more if you did a lot of reversions to the changes that you've made. So revert those durable armors, revert the speed of the enemies a bit more, and the player base will probably be a little bit more happy with you, because once more, as you can see from the player feedback, on a grand scale, they are not happy with everything that has come out and has happened. But what is your own personal take, audience? I would love to know what are your thoughts on, all the different contents of the Warbond, the contents of the patch update. Would you change anything? Would you want to go back to the way it was beforehand? Keep it to the comments nice and civil, but let me know your thoughts, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.